Welcome to Math with Mr. P. Today we are doing 6th grade math, chapter 5, lesson 3. Today we are comparing and ordering integers. Now, as we remember from last time, lesson 1, an integer is a number with no fractional part. All the whole numbers and all whole negative numbers are integers. 0 is also an integer. So integers are all whole numbers, whether they be positive or negative, and 0. An integer cannot have a fractional part, meaning it is not a mixed number, it is not a decimal, and it is not a fraction. So, compare and order integers. Today we are going to be talking about ordering them, possibly from least to greatest or greatest to least. Let's go ahead and do the real world link. Fairbanks is located in interior Alaska. The average temperature for several months is shown on the thermometer. The average temperature for December is negative 6.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And the average temperature for March is 11 degrees Fahrenheit. Label December and March on the thermometer. So, looking at the thermometer, December is negative 6.5. Now, it's not as clear here, but negative 6.5. If February is negative 4, negative 6.5 will be somewhere around here. Negative 6.5. And then we are looking at December. That was December. March being 11 degrees. Not negative 11, but 11. So March would be right around here. 11 degrees. We're going to go ahead and put an M for March, and then this will be DEC for December. I should put a MAR for March. There we go. Which months have a greater average temperature than February? So, we're looking at February right here. Greater on a number line that's vertical would be higher. The higher it is, the hotter it is, the higher the temperature is. So February is right here. We're looking at anything above February, which will be March and November, since they are both positive and February is negative. All these other negative ones are lower. Even though negative 6.5 seems like a bigger number than negative 4, it's actually a smaller number, and so is negative 10. It's smaller than negative 4. So for number 2, the months that have a greater average temperature than February would be March and November. Which months have a lower average temperature than November? So we're going to look at November here, and everything lower than November is right here. So February, December, and January each have a lower average temperature than November because it's lower. It's towards the bottom of the number line on a vertical plane. Complete the inequality to compare the temperatures of November and February. So I'm going to do a different color highlighter here. So November, probably shouldn't have done that. Let's go ahead and erase November so we can highlight it a different color. So November, and they said, oops, undo. They said February, right? November and February. November is 3, so 3 is greater than negative 4. Because 3 is greater than negative 4. So comparing November to February, November is warmer than February. To compare integers, you can compare the signs as well as the magnitude or size of the number. Greater numbers are graphed farther to the right. So we were using a vertical number line here on this example. So remember, on a vertical number line, the higher up they are, the greater they are. The lower down they are, the lower they are. Negatives are going to usually be down here. Positives are going to be up here. On a horizontal number line, negatives are to the left, positives are to the right. So if we're comparing these two, negative 3 and positive 2, whichever one is closest to the right on this number line is the bigger one, which would be 2. You can also tell which one's bigger based on the signs. Negative 3 has a negative symbol. Positive 2 does not have a negative symbol. So positive are always going to be greater than negative numbers. Please make sure that is in your notes. Positive numbers are always greater than negative numbers. Doesn't matter what number is after the sign. If I have negative 105, that's supposed to be a 0, and positive 2, my positive 2 is greater than negative 105 because of the negative symbol. It gets tricky once you have two negatives. For example, negative 3 and negative 2. Whichever one is closest to the right, or in this case, since they're both negative, we say whichever one's closer to 0 is the bigger one. So negative 2 is technically bigger than negative 3. Since negative 2 is farther to the right, negative 2 is greater than negative 3. An easy trick to think of is if both numbers are negative, think of it like this. I have negative 17 and negative 39. Negative 17 is closer to 0. You're going to look at which number is closer to 0. Is it 17 or 39? Negative 17 is greater than negative 39 in this case. It's also referred to it as money. Would you rather owe somebody $17 or would you rather owe somebody $39? Owing somebody $17 is going to be the better option, and it is the greater of the two. Negative 17 is bigger than negative 39. Again, if I were to put this on a number line, negative 17 is closer than negative 39 is to 0. It's also more to the right. Therefore, negative 17 is the greater number. Example, fill in the blank or the circle with the greater than, less than, or equal to symbol to make a sentence true. Remember the symbol, the mouth, always opens to the bigger number. Think of it like a hungry alligator that wants to eat the bigger number. It's a horrible picture, but you get the idea. So 12 will be greater than negative 4. We can already tell this because 12 is a positive number and negative 4 is a negative number, and positives are always greater than negative. If we were to graph this, as shown down here, 12 is more to the right than negative 4 is. So my answer should be 12 is greater than negative 4. These are done for us for some reason, so let's go ahead and do these examples. We have two negatives here with negative 3 and negative 5. Remember the trick when we have two negatives. Whichever one is closer to 0 is going to be the bigger one, and 3 is closer to 0, therefore negative 3 is bigger than negative 5. Also think of it in terms of money. Would you rather owe $3 or would you rather owe $5? The second one, B, negative 5 and 0. 0 is neither positive nor negative, but remember, 0 is bigger than any negative numbers. This should also be in your notes. If you're comparing a negative number to 0, 0 is always the bigger number. Again, think of it like owing money. Would you rather owe somebody $5 or would you rather owe somebody nothing? 0 is the bigger number. And then example C, we have 6 and negative 1. This one's an easy one, with 6 being the greater number because 6 is positive and negative 1 is negative. Let's do this example. Justin has a score of negative 4 on the Trueville trivia game. Desiree scores negative 5. Write an inequality to compare the scores. Explain the meaning of the inequality. Because we have two negatives, negative 4, negative 5, we always look at it as a number line. I'm going to put 0 here. Negative 4 is going to be closer to 0 than negative 5 is. Negative 4 is closer to the right. Again, money, would you rather owe $4 or $5? Negative 4 is going to be greater than negative 5. Since negative 4 is farther to the right on a number line than negative 5, negative 4 is greater than negative 5. Justin has a higher score than Desiree. That is the part where it says explain the meaning of this inequality, and that's where this comes in. Justin has a higher score than Desiree. All right. The temperature on Tuesday was 2 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature on Wednesday was negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Write an inequality, compare the temperatures, and then explain the meaning of the temperatures. 2 is greater than negative 2. And what I would write for my inequality, since Tuesday was 2 degrees and Wednesday was negative 2 degrees, I can say it was a warmer day on Tuesday than it was on Wednesday, or Tuesday was warmer than Wednesday. And that would explain my inequality. All right, and then ordering integers. You can use a number line to order a set of integers. Integers can be ordered from least to greatest or greatest to least. Order the set -9, 6, -3, and 0 from least to greatest. Sometimes you can use a number line. So as you see, -9 is right here, -3, 0, and 6. The order from left to right, if this were asking you to order from least to greatest, which it is, it would be -9, -3, 0, and 6. We're going to go ahead and do this one without using a number line. Compare the negative numbers and compare positive numbers. The negative integers are -9 and -3. -9 is less than -3 because remember on a number line, -3 comes closer to the right. 0 is neither positive nor negative, so it'll be between negatives and positives, which is where it is here. We have 2 negatives, then 0, and then lastly our positive, which is 6. So it'd be -9, -3, 0, and 6. We're going to go ahead and do this one without a number line. -4, -3, 11, -25 from greatest to least. And it's very important that we read our directions. This is from greatest to least. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my numbers. I'm going to do a new whiteboard. -4, 3, 11. -4, 3, 11. And I believe that was positive, -25. Since we're going greatest to least, we're going to look at positive numbers first. I have 3 and I have 11. Which one of these two is bigger? 11 is my bigger number out of the two. So I know that 11 is my greatest one, and then 3. I have no zeros on the board, so then I'm going to look at the negative numbers. And remember, just because 25 is bigger than -4, or just looks bigger than -4, 25 is bigger than 4, the negative symbols change the outlook. So -4 would be the next biggest number, and then -25 is the smallest number. So from least to greatest, from greatest to least, because that was the directions, is 11, 3, -4, and -25. Now, on here, it wants us to number line them. -4 would be right there before -5, and that little dot. 3 would be somewhere here. 11 would be right after 10, and -25 would be right here. Now, since it's asking us from greatest to least, 11, 3, -4, and -25, which is what we wrote here. And then we will go ahead and do this one, and we're not going to number line this one at all. We're just going to look at the set. -18, 30. So let me go ahead and write this down. I got -18, 30, 12, -6, and 3. And I'm going to double check that I wrote it right. -18, 30, 12, -6, 3. From least to greatest. Very important that we read the directions. So since we're going least to greatest, I'm looking at negatives first. -18 and -6. That will leave the rest of these as positives. From least to greatest, -18 is the smaller number because it's furthest away from 0 on a number line. It's further to the left. Then comes -6. Now with the positives, I'm going to look at which ones are closer to 0. 3 would be my next one, then 12, then 30. And this will be my answer from least to greatest. On a number line, it would look something like this. -18 would be right there. 30 would be right there. 12, -6, and +3 would be right here. So, again, it would be -18, -6, 3, 12, and 20, and 30. -18, -6, that is a 6. It's a really bad 6. -18, -6, 3, 12, and 30, just like we wrote on our other whiteboard. We'll go ahead and do this practice as our final, and we'll call this one a video. The table shows the lowest elevation for several continents. Order the elevations from least to greatest. So this is our table. Notice they are all negative. They are all negative. And since we're doing least to greatest, and they've already put it on the number line for us, we're just going to go ahead and do this without the number line. So I'm going to go ahead and write this over here. Now, since they're all negative and the number closest to the left is going to be the lowest number, we're looking for which number here without the negative symbol is the biggest number. They're all negatives. So which one would be furthest to the left, aka furthest away from 0? That would be 418. So my first one would be Asia at -418. I have to look at my question again because I don't know if they're asking us first graph each integer, which they already did for us, then write the integers as they appear on the number line from left to right. Order the elevations from least to greatest. You can write it as numbers like they do here, or you can write them as countries as I'm going to do. That's fine. So Asia would be the lowest, and then we'd go with Africa at -56. I'm going to use abbreviations here. -156. Our next lowest would be South America at -105. And then we'd have North America, -86. Europe at -28. And last but not least, Australia at -12, from least to greatest. And if we look here, it's the exact same order that we have here. So as always, if you have any questions, you may feel free to message me on Teams if you're in my class. If you're not in my class, always feel free to leave a comment and I can get back to you as soon as possible. For those of you in my class, this is your homework. You are going to be doing all 20 questions. If you are RSP, you're going to do odds only. As always, I'm Mr. P, and I will catch you guys on the next one.